Yeah, solo, 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 solo. You know I've been like this solo. Before my duty get promos. Now they call me a dollar, a dollar, dollar, dollar. Ain't nobody call me a dollar. I just know I so many things you done, so many things you done. Yeah, don't decide since my never thought you should see me stop.
Yes, karibuni sana once again. Apologies about that. Sister Michelle, asante sana. Much love to such people like you. I really appreciate it when you come here and you get to correct me about something going on, because sometimes it starts and we've not checked the sound because we know it's okay. But thank you so much. And of course, karibuni sana once again to the Pan-African Blue Show. This is the media of the 21st century. And like I was saying earlier, before all that distraction, I was saying that today we shall be focusing our conversation into the exploitation of resources in the African countries. And of course, we've seen how this happens. And this comes with the loan that African countries have been taking. And today we shall be talking about Congo. That is Congo, not DRC Congo, but Congo, the small Congo, which actually right now it has received some certain amount of funds from the IMF. And at the beginning of this week, that was on Monday, I also saw that the same country is seeking, or rather was seeking help from the UN for them to come and intervene. And that is after I think the M23 rebels, did manage to come into their country. I'm not sure about the details. I was trying to look for the article, but I couldn't see it again. But in case I bump into the information again, I'll be sharing it maybe during the week. But yes, we shall be talking about Congo. We shall be talking about Kenya, the current situation that is going on, because we know the demonstration began because of us rejecting the financial bill, which was, of course, being pushed by the IMF and the World Bank. But there's so much going on in Africa, and African people are waking up. But we shall be starting our conversation with Kenya, where yesterday we did witness, of course, more people being killed, and that comes after the peaceful protest again that was being held. And Ruto said that no more killings, no more kidnappings, no more extrajudicial killings. But during the weekend, we've seen also more bodies that were found in a dumping site, and which I'll be sharing an interview coming from a certain lady from Kenya, which actually she talks about it again, and it's crazy to see that despite people pushing for Ruto to resign, actually he has gone ahead after accusing Illuminati and all sorts of people, the opposition politicians, for funding the youth. He has gone ahead to actually accuse the US for funding this demonstration again, but which it comes like a scam for me. That's a big red flag, because Ruto was just in the United States recently. So they're trying to find someone to actually, they're playing the mind games of blaming, the blaming game. This is the one who takes the blame this time, because we've tried to pin this on anyone and it's not going to work. Since the people right now understand that the IMF has been the one pushing most of their agendas in Africa, they're trying to now say it is the US funding the protest. So it is crazy, but we shall be talking about that. Also conversate about what is happening in between Nigeria and the UAE, where we can see that the United Arab Emirates has finally lifted a 2022 visa ban on Nigeria. So we shall see how these two countries shall be benefiting each other, because of course they're saying that this is beneficial for both the countries. We shall be seeing how as we get to break down the article. Remember, yesterday we saw that Nigeria is one among the countries, was it yesterday or Monday? We saw that these are one among the countries that actually that are demanding gold back from the US. And we tried to see how, which didn't make sense, and this connected us all the way to BRICS. We shall also talk about where more than 200 Kenyan troops as well have been deployed to Haiti, and that makes the total number of the deployed troops to 600. But of course, that is just the given figure by the mainstream media. The number is quite bigger than that. So karibuni sana, that is our conversation for the day. And of course, hope you guys get to enjoy the show. Welcome once again.
me a tip of for my family, I be stubborn. Come on, come. Enter your body like two guns. Come on, you put on. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yes, and of course, karibuni sana. And for me, I'm just wishing you a beautiful day. That is my humble quote of today. Wishing you guys a beautiful day on whatever you're doing. Keep your head up, and of course, stay strong and stay focused. That is my quote of the day. And of course, have a beautiful, beautiful day ahead of you. 23 minutes past the top of the hour. That's the time in the 254. And I don't want to take much time in the music, but of course, let's get straight into the conversation of the day. Karibuni sana once again. In case you are on Facebook, on Twitter, and also on Rumble on the show page. Pardon my voice today. I'm a little bit calm. I feel my mood is just calm. So yeah, I think maybe we're gonna get the hype as we get to move on. So we're gonna start, of course, with the 254 and what is really happening. Rather, what happened yesterday during the peaceful demonstrations, which of course Kenyans are still pushing for and calling for Ruto to resign out of his presidential seat for not delivering anything that he has promised during his manifesto, during his political rallies. And he has also been called out for conducting a couple of extrajudicial killings, a couple of things that actually he has done, including grabbing lands and not being held accountable for it, even actually going even forward to killing even his fellow businessmen. We're talking about Jacob Juma. And until today, of course, we've seen the death of this man. No one has been held accountable for it. We saw on the interview, actually on a video I was listening to, there was this journalist who was bought out, who actually used to go after these people and questioning and bringing the true stories of what the system was all about. Shout out to Mohammed Ali. Right now, he's a member of the parliament, one among the MPs who voted yes, was a very, very good journalist. But during that time when Jacob Juma passed away, or rather when he was discovered that he was killed, before his death, he had said that he knows his assassination had been discussed and he knows who's going to conduct it. And one among the people mentioned was our current president. But when the journalist that is an MP right now questioned the DCI by then about his involvement, the involvement of our current leader in this, he said they dismissed the question. Actually, they didn't want to answer. They were dismissing the question. So there's a lot of things, of course, Kenyans that know, or rather even African people, not just Kenyans. There's a lot of information about Ruto. There's a lot of facts. There's a lot of evidence. There's a lot of witnesses actually who have also been made to disappear because of so many things that he has done. But yesterday, of course, we had a couple of people who died, and they're saying that anti-government protests in Kenya have returned to the streets, stepping up demands for President William Ruto to resign despite his recent concession. One man has been shot dead, which is not one, because according to the current online going viral videos, we have a young boy, probably at the age of 6 or probably 7, 8. We had a man who was shot. On his eye. Another man was shot. There's a lot of people who are actually shot yesterday. So it's not just one person. So shout out to the mainstream media for giving out lies, and which Kenyans told you, tutawasalimia, for giving out lies. But one man has been shot dead. That is according to the mainstream media during a confrontation between protesters and security forces on the outskirts of the capital city. And in the central city of Nairobi, that is, shops have been closed as police fire tear gas to disperse hundreds of demonstrators. The protest began last month, and against the popular tax bill, of course, which we saw it was withdrawn. But do remember, they say that after this, the Kenyan government, rather our Kenyan country, is going to face very big consequences after this, which we're supposed to borrow 1 trillion, which is just what we know. Because do remember, actually, Demora has been helping us break this down and understanding how they borrow money. They say they bring this total amount of what they're going to borrow to the public, but in real sense, they borrow either double the amount or triple the amount, and the rest and majority is hidden, even including the borrowed one, which is supposed to actually be accounted for a couple of things. But they're saying that includes unpopular tax bill, which has been withdrawn by the president, but they continued mopping into a border anger of bad governance, corruption, police accountability over the deaths of dozens of demonstrators at recent rallies. Last week, President Ruto called for a dialogue as he fired his entire cabinet and the head of police force resigned. And the protest movement is largely coordinated online by young Kenyans, and many whom have rejected talks are calling for Mr. Ruto to go out of his presidential seat. A crowd carried the body of the demonstrator killed, that is Tuesday in Kitengela, in the southern Nairobi, to a nearby police station, and the police force has not commented on the man's death yet. The protesters chanted Ruto must go, lit fires on the road, and threw stones as they clashed into the police station. So it is super, super crazy. And do remember, people have double anger and demand answers for the bodies that were found on the dumping site, which I was talking about on Monday. But as we get to continue, let me share this interview right here from this young lady who's also talking about the same thing. Of course, the current and recent ongoing situation in our country. And as we get to see also how this white lady is lying about thousands of people being killed.
Hello and welcome. We start with Kenya, where for weeks President William Ruto has blamed foreign entities for stoking unrest in the country. Now he finally revealed the identity of one such foreign entity. In his visit to Nakuru.
Okay, just a minute. Clicked the wrong button.
Of sponsoring anarchy and funding anti-government protests that gripped Kenya last month. Ruto said if the non-governmental organization was not interested in democracy in Kenya, they should leave. Earlier today, unrest erupted in the Kenyan capital again, as police fired tear gas at dozens of demonstrators in Nairobi. Scattered rallies across the country called for President Ruto to step down. Heavy police deployment was seen in Nairobi's business district, which was the epicenter of a previous protest.
We've been seeing frequent abroad trips, nothing in this country, until we started demonstrating the streets. That's nowadays we're having president in this country. We're having our president in this country. Ruto is very much incompetent. He has no leadership skills. He just wanted the title to be the president of this country. After sending, we know like what the guy is a puppet to IMF. That is it. Whatever he's doing for IMF. He's not leading this country at all. He's not leading this country.
This is our land. We are dying here. We get justice or we die here. And the irreversible minimum is either the president abide by what the people are telling him. We gave him that power. It is time for him to abide by what we are telling him. Or we demand IMF to come and carry their own puppet.
Exactly. Come carry your own puppet. I like that. That's come carry your own puppet, because there's no way he's gonna stay here. And like it has been saying, and which is actually very evident, Kenya is no longer gonna be the same. People are too woke, too very woke, too very, very woke.
The East African nation has plunged into chaos since protests, which started as peaceful rallies, turned into violent and deadly clashes against the government's proposed tax hikes and spiraled into a wider campaign against President William Ruto. The protesters are demanding William Ruto's resignation. Dozens of people have been killed since the protests began. The 25th of June saw the protests peak with angry crowds storming the parliament and the police firing live bullets on protesters. Pushing back against the protest, Ruto said that he was ready to unite the country. In response,
how are you ready to unite a country when you send in people? Because yesterday, if I am to share all the videos right here, we're going to take a whole time showing everything that took place. How are you willing to have a conversation with your people while you're sending your police officers to even go invade churches? Churches, and you're the same leader who came actually with the notion of let's be a government of church. That even aside, how do you send your people to go and invade hospitals, commanding people to get out? And then if they get out there, they're going to get shot. And that's why you put the name, these goons, or we had goons who you sent. Because yesterday we saw amongst the peaceful protesters, we had paid people who came actually with